This episode isn't even real.
You know what? Welcome back.
Hey.
Welcome back. You know what? Welcome
The
back.
difference in the intros of just you versus both of us.
The episodes I think with just me are much more concise. We can say that.
Well, yeah. It's just one bulb pinging around in a room versus two balls.
What did I say in the intro? The ranter with no banter. It's just me fucking yelling into the.
That was really funny.
No, I thought I was pretty proud of that one. Anyways, welcome back to the RF Fitness Podcast, brought to you, Rachel, by the RFFitness.net.
Just me.
Yep, just you and only you. Your source and only your source for online coaching built for and by busy grown-ups just like you specifically, Rachel. We're on the quest for health and strength. I know, it's very specific today.
So custom.
It's bespoke. We're on the quest for health and strength in everyday life. I am your host.
Oh my God.
Rob Finlayson, certified elder brother, fitness coach, and kind of gassy tonight.
Ew.
Yeah, it happens, man.
Ew. Burpee or booty?
Booty.
Oh.
I had a pound of beef today for lunch. So
just a pound of beef?
There were vegetables too. I honestly might be I had a lot of broccoli today.
So that is it, my friend.
Beef and broccoli. It's a recipe for power, but only for a power bottom. And I'm here with my co-host,
Rachael Hammerud, certified younger sister, and power top. Yeah.
No comment.
Cool.
Today we are walking in to the show with the episode with a topic in mind, which I think is a good thing for us to be doing. To have a topic picked out ahead of time and to have an outline written, even as bare bones as this is, I feel like it just lends the episodes where we've done this, I feel like are the better ones compared to the ones where we walk in and just completely wing it. Not that those are bad episodes, but I'm just saying. I'm a very mission-minded person, so I like having an objective.
Yeah, I mean Do you feel like your ADHD is well managed? What was the question?
When I have objectives, I do. There wasn't even a question, Rachel. I was telling people that it's good that we're organized on the show. Because we have a topic in mind.
Hey-o.
I asked you on Sunday or Monday, what do you want to talk about this week? Rachel, you said...
Antonia Boundaries.
Boundaries. Listeners, if you don't know how to spell boundaries, you're not alone. You're in good company because I shared my doc with Rachael on the screen, and the first word that was misspelled was boundaries, which is B-U-B-A-fucking-A. B-O-U-N-D-A-R-I-E-S. Without that A in there. Boundaries, right? Phonetically.
Boundaries.
But it turns out phonetically it's Boundaries. Sounds like Antonia Banderas, star of the Shrek films, the Shrek spin-off movies, and nothing else.
Oh, sad.
I'm sure he's been in other things. Actually, he was definitely in Mask of Zorro, which I have seen over 100 times.
It's a good movie. I remember watching it only because of you, but
it slaps, dude.
It does.
So let's talk, because setting boundaries with our young kids. What are we looking at? What do we mean by boundaries? Let's define some terms first.
Wait, did we skip talking about ourselves? I want to talk about myself.
We did. I'm sorry.
What happened to that?
Oh, I jumped to the jump. There it is. Intros update cold open. This is going so well, you guys. Aren't you glad?
Thank God we have this doc.
Aren't you glad we're so organized?
Shout out to this doc.
Do you feel like my ADHD is well managed? Do you feel that way? What do you think?
I hope everyone's yelling no in their car.
No. Well, I guess to that end, my first note is I want to say some thank yous.
Jesus.
The great listener feedback I got on the last episode. A lot of people reached out from multiple places. People I didn't even know listened to the show.
Oh.
Yeah, DM'd me or said so on like Instagram or in on Discord, stuff like that. There's great conversation in the Discord about the last episode. When I was a ranter with no banter, turns out pretty much everyone feels the same way. Like we're all going insane,
Mm-hmm.
and that having a way to like a way to funnel those energies into something productive, i.e., fitness, sounds like it was helpful and hopeful for people, which is something I
We love
will
those.
something I endeavor to be overall, especially in these upcoming few years. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for letting me know. It was nice. It was nice to hear that people are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rachel, why don't you give us some highlights from the last week or two since we've heard from you?
I am now a soft sourdough girly, not full
What?
on, not yet because I still haven't baked a loaf, but I have my starter. I fed her.
Ooh,
I still need to think of a name for her.
that was going to be my
Um,
next question.
yeah, still don't have a name. Um, and there are so many good ones.
Like what?
Um, I can't give you one example. Um,
Because there's too many.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. Every time I think, wow, that's a good one. Now I'm never going to remember it.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but yeah, I'll probably ask Kayla because, Kayla listens to this podcast. Kayla, please think of a sourdough starter name for me.
Shout out Kayla.
Um, and she has the most amazing list of drag queen names.
For
Like,
sourdough?
no, for drag queens, but like as
Okay.
like that are punny and stuff. So like, yeah, I think
Right.
she would be great at that. Um, but yeah, Sunday went over to my friend Renee's house and she gave me the little sourdough lesson.
Mm.
And I'm very excited to sourdough and find out. Um,
Okay.
and this is A, because I've always wanted to,
Yeah.
but I, in accordance to the work that I've been doing with my treatment, is I'm trying to find joy in food, find a better relationship
Mm.
with food, in a healthier way. That is
Yeah.
not, finding joy at midnight with Taco Bell. Um,
Sure.
this is finding joy in a healthier way.
Right.
So, doing the sourdough, and then I have re-signed up for a meal plan subscription box.
Oh, okay.
Um, to
Which do you use?
So I was a huge every plate gal,
Uh-huh.
which is fresh time, or what is like the, oh man, what is the most popular one? Oh my god, HelloFresh.
Okay.
Hi Fresh. It's me, Rachel. You're too expensive.
Are you
So I
there?
go.
Are you there? Fresh with me, Margaret.
So every plate is HelloFresh's sister company. They
Mm.
use like everything is the exact same except for it's significantly cheaper and there is
Um,
a significant decrease in variety of foods
mm.
and like uh, fanciness and recipes and like stuff like that. Um, so it's a budget HelloFresh, which I'm sorry,
Nice.
who's not trying to find a budget HelloFresh?
It was when we had Olivia, our friends, Ethan and Mary. Shout out. I don't think they even listen.
I Yes,
Um,
they do. Ethan listened in the beginning.
yeah, I think he just fell off. He has a hard time keeping up on podcasts. He's too busy listening to the McElroy brothers. Whatever. Anyways, when we had Olivia, they gave us a like a free $80, whatever, to HelloFresh, and that was awesome to have
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
And then that ran out, and then it was like, wow, this is a lot of money.
Super expensive. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm entertaining the idea of a new one called Home Chef.
Mm-hmm.
Sam has tried it or just started it and really likes it. Apparently it's supposed to be a tiny bit cheaper than every plate. Um I don't know.
Shout out to Sam.
I don't know. My shipment will be coming in like 4 days. We'll see how that goes. But it was super fun when I
Yeah.
did have it. I learned some really good cooking basics from them,
Awesome.
um, which was
So
helpful.
is it the same
And
deal where it comes in like here's all the ingredients and like a
mm-hmm,
recipe, you make it?
mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Because when you said a meal prep box, I thought you were talking about like a factor meal kind of thing.
No, yeah,
I was like
that's
pre-frozen.
so the difference with Home Chef is that they do offer like oven ready meals or microwave meals as well.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool, but especially, for us busy folk, but
Yep. Easy grown-ups trying to get health and strength and fitness in their everyday life.
me, Home Chef is
You,
only for me.
specifically you,
Um,
like this entire episode. Yeah.
right. So yeah, once again, trying to find some joy with the foods in the healthy way, and because I have just essentially given up on trying to find any foods that Linnea will like, so I'm just going to make
Yeah.
the foods that I like, offer
There you
them to
go.
her, and then wind up making chicken nuggets.
Did I tell you that Olivia has stopped eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of, have you tried any of the tactics?
We have not. No. I'm still on the just no because the thing I wanted to try was feeding the toys,
Yeah.
right? And it turns out I'm just really fucking sick of those toys being at the table, so I still just say
Oh
there's
my
none allowed at the table.
god.
But also, she still doesn't. She still will eat a PB and J, but we have to press really hard for it. But we have found other options now that she is more amenable to that she will eat on a regular basis. And I
Hmm.
have tried because she will almost always ask for a treat. It's this whole fucking thing, dude, every time. But we went shopping with Mo, grocery shopping with Mo a week or two ago, and Mo had this really, I think, inspired move where Olivia wanted like snacks or like a treat just to have,
Hmm.
and Mo kind of, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but I think it seems like Mo sort of like sidewinded into why don't we get a thing that's like a snack that's your snack that you can have, and they got this like giganto bag of like puffy Cheetos, and so like that's like when she wants like a treat snack, that's it, which I
Okay.
really like because that's not me like hunting around the pantry being like, well, I guess maybe this or it's
Hmm.
like you want a treat snack, puffy Cheetos, and like just the other night, I made her dinner, which was popcorn chicken, which I discovered she will eat. Oven baked popcorn chicken.
What? What is the difference?
I don't
Okay.
know,
Okay.
but
All
that
right. Moving fast.
she'll eat it.
Okay. We love it.
Spaghetti, plain spaghetti. She'll eat that. I
You
need
mean like just
anything.
spaghetti noodles, no red sauce?
Spaghetti noodles, no sauce, no
Okay.
cheese, no nothing. She eats it with her fingers, like
Cool.
a little chimpanzee. And I needed the thing to put on the third plate because I don't know why I always need to give her three things at once. Maybe that's a
Yeah.
me thing. So I give her a little handful of puffy Cheetos and I said, these Cheetos are the treat. They're coming with the whole plate all at once. That was an idea that I got from you that you had mentioned, and I like that a lot.
Yes.
So I said, here it is. Don't ask for a treat afterwards.
Yep.
And she ate it. And so obviously she ate all the Cheetos
Yep.
first
For sure.
and was like, can I have more Cheetos? And I was like, no, one, I said, don't ask for more treats. And she's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then two, eat everything else on your plate. She's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. She ate everything else
Just
on
like
the
a
plate. And
drunk guy at the bar.
oh yeah, oh yeah. That's not how she reacts. It's just like her vibe. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, you just had attention. Oh yeah. Yeah, so she did that.
Okay.
We've also made progress. Speaking of picky eaters, her booger eating habits.
Okay. I don't know if I'm.
If I'm ready for this. No, okay, now listen. Here's because we're talking about boundaries. I think this goes into it because I've used
Okay.
this
Okay.
particular tactic in the past as well with another really hard sticking spot that I've had with her, which was potty
Her
training.
nose.
No, no, which was potty training. I use a very similar tactic with her. With this
Oh,
one,
I know where this is going. Okay.
and yeah, I think it kind of helped her turn a corner on like why it's important to do what I'm telling her to do because she picked
Yeah.
her nose and I said, "Don't eat it." And I was, if I catch her, I was like, don't eat it, and she doesn't. And then whatever, I like went up into the
God, God, God,
go to the
God.
kitchen, and I come back, and she says, Dad, guess what? And I'm like, I don't know what. And she's like, when you were gone, I ate two boogers.
Oh my.
I know. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I took a breath,
Yeah, good job. Good job.
took a breath, and I said, Olivia, listen to me. I need you to look at me when I say this because I'm going to be serious with you right now. I love you very much. Mommy loves you very much. Will always love you. But people won't want to be around you when you eat your boogers. It's so disgusting. It's
Yeah.
so gross. Everyone hates it. People won't want to be your friend. They won't want to sit next to you at lunch. They won't invite you to birthday parties. They're not going to play with you. No one's going to want to have games with the girl who eats her boogers because it's that gross. And she
Oh,
like
that's
with
so shamey, though.
it's true. No
I
one wants to hang out
know,
with the
but
kid
you
who fucking eats her
shouldn't
boogers.
parent with shame.
I'm not parenting with shame. I'm giving her an example of what's going.
Okay,
This
okay.
is what's
This is
happening.
going to be an interesting episode, guys.
The this I'm telling her I'm letting her know the stakes. All right, these are the stakes.
Okay,
These are the
okay.
stakes. And she was like stopped in her tracks and she thought about it. And then you can see the wheels turning. She got really upset. She's like, "Would you and mommy ever like forget about me?" I was like, "No, we're not gonna forget you. Like you're my." I told her, "You're my baby. I'll always love you. I'll never forget you. That's impossible." And then she climbed down out of her chair and gave me a great big hug. And then we just went had a regular dinner after that, and it was great. And I haven't caught her
Fair.
eating nose jam ever since then.
Fair. Nose hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, well,
Interesting.
there's a similar turning point conversation that I had with her RE potty training a while
Right,
back.
right.
That again, I think helped her to realize the stakes.
Yeah.
Because I don't engage in shame based parenting
Right,
intentionally.
right.
At least not often. You know, it's not something that I want to do. It's obviously not something I do with my clients. I'm certainly not going to try and do it with my daughter. You know, I'm not going to be like, you should be embarrassed about this, and like that's why you should, or like, you know, I think shame is something that happens when you're by yourself, right? And embarrassment is something that happens in front of others.
Maybe.
Like I've heard that delineation made somewhere else on some
Okay.
is a PBS, not a PBS, an NPR show they were doing about shame and embarrassment, which I thought was really interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, like
All right.
it's a similar thing. But anyways, yeah. So tell me about the boundaries you were seeking with
So
Linnea.
the big so we do ECFE, which is early childhood family education,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I call preschool, and
Okay.
we just take we apparently it's only a Minnesota and a couple other states thing,
Oh,
unfortunately.
really? Huh.
Yeah, so but uh we go hang out with the kids, the parents and the kids hang out, then we separate, which also teaches them it's okay to be away from
Oh,
your parents.
that's a great
um
lesson. Yeah.
yes, it was a hard lesson, and it made a giant impacts, positive impacts
Mm.
in Linnea and both of us. And so then the parents go into a separate room and have parent discussion led by a parent teacher educator. And then we come back and we have gym time or outdoor time or like recess, whatever, on the little playground,
Yard
depending on
time.
the weather. Yes, yeah, yeah. Um, and so the topic was overindulgence. And
mm.
I didn't look around to see how many eyes were on me, but I feel like most of them were on me.
Uh-huh.
Um, I like giving my kids shit. Sue me. Um,
All right.
And it's that attitude that has me where I am now.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
no, so we were talking about overindulgence, and what is
Yeah.
overindulgence? Like, no, you can't give them too much love, but you can,
Hmm.
give in to these behaviors. That was a big thing Linnea has been doing lately. Is she wants to be carried everywhere.
Mm.
Carry me down the stairs, carry me into the living room, um,
Living room.
the
I
living
feel
room.
I feel like Olivia went through a phase like that too. Just like carrying me everywhere, and yeah, she was definitely able to walk.
Yes, apparently it's pretty common around this age to
Yeah.
revert back to baby-like behaviors.
Huh.
Um, which also kind of makes sense because she's so obsessed with me pretending to be a baby, which goes along with this discussion.
You are the baby in
And
this game, or
I am the baby.
okay?
So,
Just seeking clarification.
yep, yep, yep. So we were talking about it, and it's interesting to me because I was talking to Missy about it literally today and
Mm.
was saying it's me and the other mom that seem to be struggling the most, or at minimum, are the most transparent about struggling the most.
Sure.
But the one thing that we have in common is that we both have only one child. And so
Hmm.
I'm like, I feel like we should be struggling the least. We just have one kid. Um, like versus all you others.
With overindulging your child.
No, just with anything, honestly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're just constantly struggling with everything.
Sure. Okay.
Um, so we were talking about, I don't know how overindulgence and boundaries go together.
Sure.
And I was saying, yeah, I think we struggle with that. Example is when we play baby. Um, and it literally all started because I put a tube, like those like tubes that make noise, like the collapsy tubes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I put a tube around my face and I said like, "I'm a baby." Wah. And then a seed was planted. Um
That cracked the egg, and now it's
yes.
yeah.
Yes, that cracked the baby egg and
Now you are sitting in your own souffle.
yes. Um and so Linnea will make me say wham,
Okay. Okay.
and we'll be in the middle of like playing baby or whatever, and she'll point at me and she'll say wham.
Oh my god.
And
Okay.
I was giving this example in class, and then everyone was just like looking at me with, these, oh, you poor woman eyes.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, do you say whale? And I was like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I whale.
Yeah. Oh no.
And everyone was just like, oh my God, Rachel.
Oh my god.
And then this one mom who was just like, I have four kids, and my oldest, as in
Hmm.
my first, I had like zero boundaries with because, like
Hmm.
because I was saying, it's just so much easier to let it slide.
Sure.
For short term, it is so much easier to let it slide.
Hmm.
And she was just like, I had the same thing. And so I told the WAN story, and she looked at me and she said, I can see your future, girl.
Oh no.
And it's not good.
It's full of Waz.
Full of WANs. You be WAN.
Yep.
So essentially, had this entire discussion about the fact that I struggle with boundaries with my kid, which
Hmm.
I am at minimum very aware of. At
Sure.
least
That's the first
I'm.
step.
It is.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm actively trying to do it. Missy was saying like, you have to choose your battles, but the battles that you do choose, you have to follow the fuck
Mm.
through.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like figuring out, do I, because so I'm actively trying. I'm like, do I just like go balls to the walls, like boundaries forever,
Right.
or just kind of slowly introduce blah blah blah. Um,
Hmm.
so we're just having this huge conversation about boundaries, and then we go leave the discussion, go into open gym or whatever. Linnea's favorite thing in the world. She's always struggled with leaving slash, I mean, leaving anything, kids.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
the indoor gym is just her favorite. All the other kids leave nicely. Um,
That's honestly weird.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, there's one other kid that like sort of struggles.
All right.
And so we had just had this conversation. The parent teacher educator was in there, and so she was helping me because I was, of course, Linnea was the only one left in the room. I was trying, I said, "Do you want to walk?" Trying to be cool, saying, "Do you want to walk out, or do you want me to carry you?" And she essentially said, "Go fuck yourself." Um,
Cool.
Option three, go fuck yourself.
Wow.
And then so the parent teacher educator was essentially body blocking her,
Hmm.
so I could catch her because she's fast as fucking lightning. Um,
You gotta train all these gymnastics now. She's like a little ninja.
Honestly, she's just somersaulting away from me. Um,
Yep.
so I caught her. I don't, she was just like, "What the fuck? Why are you against me,
Yeah.
teacher?"
Yeah. You
I thought you were
betrayed me.
cool, honestly.
Traitor.
And then, I picked her up and we left, and insert the biggest meltdown of
For
her
sure.
entire almost 3 years.
God damn.
Um, After I had just told this group full of parents, I struggle with boundaries. And then now cue Linnea screaming, and it's in a hallway, so it's just echoing. She is
Uh,
scratching at me. She is scratching herself. She scratched her neck open.
damn, dude.
She is like trying to throw herself backwards to get out of my arms.
Yeah.
Um,
Thrashing. Yeah.
yes, level 10, level 10.
For sure.
And
Okay.
it was just the biggest mess. And, all these parents were looking at me like, "You poor thing. Why don't you just say when?"
Why
Uh,
you just say where?
and I mean, of course, I had messaged a few of my mom friends that are in the
Mm,
group, and I was just like, "How fucking embarrassing. I cannot believe that happened." Everyone was so nice about it.
right.
I'm just like so annoyed that they're nice. I
Yeah.
don't know. And
You
so now it's,
remember this is a purpose to nothing but saying it sucked that everyone was nice about it. Do you remember the movie Space Jam
yes,
with Michael Jordan? Obviously.
yes.
There's a part in the beginning where it's Michael Jordan's thankfully short-lived career in professional baseball, where he
Oh,
strikes out
yeah.
and he sucks at baseball, and his son asks him, "Was everyone real mad?" And he goes, "No, worse. Everyone was really nice about it."
Yeah.
That's what it feels because I know exactly what you're talking. Like when your kid's flipping the fuck out, and like every the parent in Target is
Yep.
like, "And there, man."
Yep.
I know what that's like. No one says shit because it's like, what? It's gonna be me next, you know.
Yes. Right. Right. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Just it's been at the forefront of my brain.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's, I don't know. I guess I never worry about if I'm giving her too much nurturing or love.
oh
Um,
sure, yeah,
I got that down pat, but the boundaries of it all.
yeah.
I am currently listening to No Drama Discipline by,
Okay.
that's too far away to read the name. Um,
Oh, we know what's in the
uh,
room with you, so that's good.
it's in the room. Uh,
Rachel, is the book in the room with us right now?
it is, yes.
Oh, okay.
This is by the same author who wrote Whole Brain Child, which is a very well known
Hmm,
book.
I've heard of that one.
Um,
Yes,
yeah, yeah. So, and I mean, no drama discipline, essentially the same thing as keeping boundaries. Um,
sure.
you
Yeah,
know,
because that's one of the things I have in the map here is like, what's the difference between boundaries and discipline? Because it sounds like it's there's going to be a lot of overlap here.
yes. So learning a lot. I'm, only like a third of the way through the book,
Okay,
but
this would be a good episode
the
to revisit later. Then, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like one of the biggest notes is there always has to be connection before redirection.
Hmm.
Um, and that can be in so many different ways, either if it's physically, embracing them,
Yeah.
just like they're not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time, what calms your nervous system,
Sure.
a physical touch. Um,
Yeah.
or if you can't get to them, Linnea has a thing, which Missy said is really common, thank God, that when she
Okay.
is like level 10 distressed, she wants nothing to do with anybody. She just wants
Oh,
to,
that's Olivia for sure.
yeah, yeah, be in the corner farthest away from anybody else,
Yep.
which is so hard for me because I just like want to
Yeah, that
pick
is
her
really
up and
hard.
cuddle.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
but I was just like, how am I supposed to fucking connect to redirect when
Yeah.
she doesn't even want to come near me?
So, dude, so many times Olivia has dropped a toy on her foot or pinched her finger in something or gotten scared by a loud noise and runs literally like out of my arms to go hide under the table like an animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're so safe with me. Like, what is that? I mean, fight or
I don't
flight?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know, just kid brains are weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
that's something that for me was like hard not to take personal because especially at that period in her life between the ages like 2 and 4, it was very clear she didn't really recognize me as like a caregiving person despite being the person who was with her all day, like
the giver
almost
of
every
care.
day. Yeah, because Mo was at school, so
Right.
I'm basically being a stay-at-home dad most of the time. So that was wild. That was fun.
Yeah. So, it's I think the ongoing struggle and
Hmm.
like you just hear the parenting noise from everybody else like, oh, soak up every minute, you're gonna miss this,
Mm,
and pick your battles,
yeah.
and um yeah, yeah. So I think also just boundaries with myself as a parent, like how much of myself do I give up in becoming a
Mm,
parent.
sure.
I just had dinner with mom tonight and Robert, and I was saying,
Hmm.
I am no longer like Rachel Finlayson and Rachel Hammerud. I am just Linnea's mom,
Sure.
and that's a tough pill to swallow.
Right. It's such a hard age too because it feels like because you've been in it now
I
like
have
three
been in it.
years,
Yes,
and
yes.
people keep saying first year's the hardest. It gets easier after that.
Oh,
I
yes.
was just having this conversation with someone else who also is having a hard time. And
We're
they're saying
all having a
we're
hard
all having a
time.
hard time. And here's the thing: people will say that shit to you all the time. The first year's the hardest. It gets easier. You're gonna miss this. It doesn't feel like it right now. You're gonna miss this. Can I tell you something right now? As someone of a parent, father of an almost 6-year-old,
You don't
I,
miss it?
I don't.
Yeah.
At year 5, I think is the first time we've hit a stage where it's like, I think I will miss this when
Hmm.
it's gone. It took
Yeah.
5 years,
Yeah.
5 whole ass years for
And
me
that was
to get to like, I think I like this child as a person. Like I
that was
enjoy
my
your
point.
presence.
That was my
Yeah,
point in ECFE, that I was just like, because
yeah,
everyone's just like, yes, like everyone is struggling. And I said, and Missy was like, what makes you think that you were struggling more? Because I just feel like nobody else's kid is freaking out at
sure,
leaving indoor gym. I have the most fucked up kid, which means I am the most fucked up parent. And she
sure.
was just like, what makes you think you're so fucked up? And I was like, because I'm struggling so much. And like, and she was, everyone's struggling. And I said, if everyone was struggling, nobody would have more than one kid, because that's madness.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
And I said it in ECFE, and everyone was like, "Yeah, it is so hard." And I said, if you are actually telling
Right,
the truth,
right.
why would you do it multiple times? And then everyone's just like, "Well, because it gets easier." And I don't know, man. I'm
I
like,
don't know, man. Yeah.
oh,
We're a one and done family, so I can't speak to that experience.
right, right,
I don't want to make assumptions or cast aspersions about someone's lived experience that I fully have zero exposure to, other
yeah,
than being raised as a sibling. That's as close as I've ever come. Or I
right,
guess
right,
having a dog and a child at the same time is the closest I've ever come, and that is
yeah,
not the same.
super not.
Having one
Um,
dog and one child is surprisingly similar, but not similar enough to having sibling children. I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think, which is another for me hard, uh, a reason why holding boundaries is a little harder for me, or it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, because it's just like, if I don't hold the boundary,
Hmm.
when it comes to super simple stuff,
Right.
who is it hurting? I mean, just me.
Mm,
It's not hurting another sibling. I can't say, like, you have to stop yelling, you have to stop being mean to your sister, like,
sure.
you can't play with that toy, because like, fuck it, go wild, girlfriend, you're lonely.
No one cares. Right.
um I was talking to my friend. She had, when her kids got phased out of naps, she went to
Mm,
quiet time. I said, "How did you figure that out?" And she said, "Well, they just had a baby brother that I had to say,
uh,
since you're not napping, you have to be quiet and turn quiet time. Ain't no baby
mm,
here.
I guess.
You could be
Yeah.
screaming at 1 p.m. and
Please don't be though.
please don't be. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
boundary."
I mean, I don't know. Like we did. I'm like trying to think back and see like what was that transition like for us. But like the thing is, like I don't know if I'm the person to speak about our like approach with boundaries with Olivia. I think she has and recognizes boundaries very well so far. But I think such a large part of that is Mo, because she's so good at setting boundaries and
She
holding
super
them.
is. I've seen her do it in person, and it is
It's literally her job. She's so good at it.
right.
And that's, I had the episode with her fucking forever ago, and I asked her like, how much mom do you bring to teaching and how much teaching do you bring to mom? And I think that's something that makes crosses that threshold really well and has been super important for us. And like I can hold a boundary as well. And I think now like my game has evolved, so to
Hmm.
speak, enough where like I can do it maybe not in the same exact way as Mo, but certainly on the same level with Olivia
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
When she was like 2, 3, even 4, um, it was a lot harder because I was still figuring it out. Like I've said in previous episodes, I've never been a parent before.
Right.
She's never had parents before, but Mo has had a decade plus experience of like
Right.
corralling emotional kids.
Yes. And I feel like I could totally be wrong. Mo text me and tell me you're totally wrong. But I feel like Mo is significantly less emotionally involved with holding those boundaries. Like, it doesn't make her upset to hold the
Hmm.
boundary.
I mean, I would say that's an accurate statement. I think Mo and I both, I think, have maybe I don't know, like a special ability or something to like remove ourselves emotionally from a given situation.
Right.
Um,
I don't.
and I think so okay. So here's the thing, because I've been talking to other parents, just whatever. I have friends who have kids, and I think and I look at like the relationship that Mo and I have as spouses and the relationship that we have to our child and the relationship that the three of us sort of all have. And I think I would color it as objectively healthy and successful to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a large part of that is because Mo and I are both skilled enough at like divesting ourselves emotionally from a situation. We learn how
Like
to do
like
it
text messaging.
like text messaging. Yes, we learn how to do it in different ways for different reasons, but
Right.
it's a skill set both of us have, and that's been so hugely important and hugely helpful, especially in parenting, especially with a little kid, because like we've said before, kids eat vibes.
Yes.
And like if when you get emotional, they get emotional, and they feed out, and it becomes this like a hurricane. It like feeds on itself, and like you get spun up and then she gets spun up and that spins you up, and then it's just everyone's fucking off the rails. Even if you're not screaming and thrashing, they can see your face, they can sense that
Right.
like your skin is tight and like you're trembling a little bit or whatever
My
because you have
skin
to hold
suit is so tight.
its toit flesh outfit.
She can see how tight this
Oh
flesh
yeah.
outfit is.
She says, "Mom, that's a toit flesh outfit," and then she screams a bunch.
Let me try to break it open with my nails.
Yeah, yeah. She goes full fucking Street Fighter on you. But yeah,
Essentially.
I think a big part of like what you're describing is you're emotionally involved in your kid.
Yes.
Yeah,
True.
that's I think that's it. I think that's like I'm not gonna say that's the problem, but I
Right.
think that's like the root of the challenge, right? With setting a for anyone,
Right.
setting a boundary. You are, or at least you should be, emotionally invested in your child.
Right.
And that's why I think for a lot of parents, boundary setting can be really difficult because it feels, especially if it's your only, it feels like I'm not setting a boundary. It feels like I'm withholding something from this child, right? It's like I'm the only, like you said,
Hmm.
they're not hurting anyone if they throw this toy or if they scream right now because the house is empty, except save for us. They're not hurting anyone. Like if I put a stop to this, I'm what like yelling at my child to stop expressing herself or
Right.
something.
Right. Right. Right.
But like, I'm sure the psychology says something different, or the child psychology says something different about what the truth of that situation might actually be. It's not so much that you're like stymieing your child's self-expression so much as you are forging an opportunity to show them this is an inappropriate way to express this feeling. Let's redirect to something else.
Right.
And I've seen, and Mo's done some reading as well on books. I forget the exact name of the book, but I've seen her put into action other strategies when Olivia's gotten really off the rails. She's not like a big tantrum kid. She never really has been, Olivia, but she gets very moody at
Hmm.
times. She gets very sullen and broods and very like I've probably described her as very down, very like depressive, down on herself. And I've seen Mo say like, "Hey, I can like it sounds like to me, she like reflects back. It sounds like you're really frustrated. It sounds like you're having a hard time with this thing that I'm observed. Wh- Should we draw a picture of what that feels like? Should we draw a picture about how that looks? You know?"
Sick.
And that's like 90% of the time she's like, okay. And then she just, draws a picture and it's like, here's a house with everyone inside it, and here's me far away outside the house where it's cold and alone, because that's where I am. Just like shit like that. And then,
Right.
we kind of like, you have to unpack like why do you feel this way? What makes you feel that way? And I don't think it's about saying, well, it's not like that, because that's
Right.
invalidating
Yes.
to the child. Um, I have my own inside thoughts. In If you watch Shogun, you know that they talk about the three hearts a man has: the heart he shows to everyone, the heart he shows to his friends, and the secret heart that lives inside your mouth. In my secret heart, I think that not all feelings are valid, but I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
express that to a
Right.
6-year old. Like, your feelings are not valid,
Right.
child. They're
Right.
not, but to her they are, and
Yes.
I have to make sure that she understands so that she can develop the skills to process her feelings in a healthy and effective way. I have to first hold them as valid for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing something that was helpful for me
Mm,
that you're if the tower falls down and your kid has a giant meltdown about it, it seems like such a minuscule thing to you because you have had blank amount of years and
sure.
so many fucked up things happen to you. But when you are two and you have
Yeah.
lived two tiny little years, that
Yes.
tiny little tower is you
Yeah.
know I'm not gonna make that reference. It's gonna
Okie dokie.
it's gonna make a 9/11 reference.
Oh,
It is a big deal.
it's a big deal. Yeah, and that's something, especially in the last probably 3-ish years or so, is like that context I have to constantly remind myself. Like the last episode we have where I said she's 5, like probably 90
Hmm.
times over the course of the
Hmm.
episode. Like I say that so much because like that's what I have to keep reminding myself of. Like her frame
Yeah.
of reference is so small compared to mine. You know, it's so their entire, like if they spend an hour on something, that hour is a not small like ratio of their entire lived experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't remember what I did 6 hours ago. I was at work. But like I think that's why Olivia, because I've talked about how she'll pull out stuff that happened like 3 years ago, which
Yes.
is like half her lifetime ago, but it's
Right.
also only 3 years ago. Like I could probably talk about things that I was doing 3 years ago. Could I talk about things I was doing half a lifetime ago? Not in the like detail that Olivia does.
Right.
I mean, there's broad strokes, you know.
Right.
Like I was probably in college or whatever. The end.
Right.
Um, but I couldn't tell you about like, oh, the time that the guy, she just the other day she brought something up about like a movie we had watched and she was like 2.5. Like, do you
God.
remember? She's like, do you remember that, Dad? And I was like, yeah. How do you? What?
Yeah. It's like it's giving Aunt Chris.
It is. It is a little bit. Yes, it's very very similar. But so how do we set these boundaries? What do we do with these fucking kids?
I mean,
Did Missy have?
she did.
Okay.
Um, she said, "It sounds like you're fucked. See you later." Um,
Thanks, Missy.
no, she said, pick your battles. Start with the ones that are most important.
Mm,
Um, and she also said temperament, temperament, temperament.
what does that mean?
Um, need I say more?
Yes, please.
Depends on the temperament of the child, which is
Ah,
something that they go over a lot in No Drama Discipline. Is that your how you handle your kid varies so much on temperament, and which
yeah.
is a lot more evident with I think people that are a really in tune with their kids and or people that have multiples that are very different from each other.
Totally.
I'm gonna approach like I'm sure mom had very different
I
approaches
was
with
gonna
you and
say,
me.
talk to mom. She said many times how different you and I were as children. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Um,
We've even out and become basically the same person since then, so that's good to know that that's a thing that happens. I'm being facetious.
okay. I was like, huh.
I don't think so.
So
That was a
she
little
was
jokey joke.
she was saying things like you're gonna have to be a little more like elastic with Linnea because
Mm,
she is so incredibly high spirited.
that's a good word.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And she was just like raising a high spirited, specifically girl, um, as a child is so incredibly difficult for the parent. But let me tell you, it pays off when they become a high spirited adult in this
Sure.
fucking world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it like Linnea will do well. Um,
Yes.
she'll be like,
And
"Say wow, bitch."
that's all we
Um,
can, that's all we want for our kids is the thing. Like I feel like that's the end game for all of this.
right,
You know, is to raise an effective adult.
right, right, and and that's what boundaries are. You want
Yes.
them to,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, mom was saying, I want just tonight. She was saying, I want you to see these videos, these home videos of yourself, so you can just see that you could not be any more of your daughter's
Yeah.
personality twin.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I think Missy's suggestions were more giving some options when she gets
Mhm.
older, uh, maybe having to throw in a third option pretty soon here. Um,
Yeah.
no longer do you want to walk or do you want me to carry you? It's like you got to get
Yeah.
a little more creative, or do you want to salt? Um,
Sure.
you know, um,
The big thing for us when she was and less so today because I guess she's even out a lot more, especially as going to school. She's being indoctrinated. Um, as a member of society, not as in like she's indoctrinated to some agenda, whatever. She's learning how to participate in society.
Cool.
But before that, when she was preschool and ECFE, and she would have the I don't want to leave the I don't want to stop playing to go brush my teeth or put on my
Right.
socks or whatever. For us, it was always okay. Do you want to with potty training? I don't want to go to the bathroom. I don't have to go to the bathroom. Obviously, she does. Can I carry you there? Should I magic chair you there? Because we have this certain where like I hook my fingers
Ooh,
together and
I
she
can
sits.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, she sits in my hands and I just pick her up and walk her and I call it magic chair.
Ooh,
And she's
what is the stair lift thing called?
like an acorn. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. But the game because she loves magic chair to this day. We still do it sometimes. She loved it then even more. And she would say, "Magic chair me here, magic chair me there." And it's like, "Sorry, kid, magic chair only goes to one room. Magic
Ooh,
chair only goes to the bathroom, so you can sit on the other magic chair, the toilet, and makes your poop
the magic
disappear."
throne.
Whoa, the throne, yeah. And then we do rocket ship, and I pick her up and make the sounds, and we do Daddy Bad Mood like from Bluey, where she walks on my
Yeah.
feet. She still wants to do that one all the time, and I wish she didn't because it hurts my feet now that she's bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah. I
it
know.
pinches it pinches the flesh.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh. Oh shoot.
Giving
My
options,
ADHD. Oh
giving options,
no.
looking for a third
Oh yes, yeah,
option.
baby, wham. Okay. She said, Missy said, like if it is random and not during play, and she is just
Hmm.
asking you to say wham, respond with something like, "Oh, I would really love to play baby with you. I am doing this right now, but in 10 minutes we can play baby,
Sure.
and then we can do it." And then she's like, then she will feel more fulfilled um,
Yeah.
by when I wear,
It's
because it's
so
a meaningful wear.
it's it's like it's like a version of when you say maybe later, but you actually mean you will.
Right.
Because every parent knows when you say maybe later, you mean never, and the kid hears
Yes.
absolutely will happen in exactly 60 seconds or
Correct.
less. That's a disconnect in expectation.
Yes.
But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we've used that with her too. Like, I can't play with you right now, kiddo, but once I'm finished once I'm finished, she does that to me all the time. Dad, come run around the house with me and do this thing. I'm literally in the middle of cooking dinner right now. Once I finish cooking this meat, then I will play pterosaur with you or whatever for like
Yeah.
a minute. That's
Right.
another thing I think that one came out of Mo's book was like if they're asking for you to play, usually it's a thing, do it for like 1 minute. Because you can usually make 1 minute happen if it's like I don't want to or like I'm cooking or like I gotta do this work or something like that. And because if I say no, she's gonna be up my ass forever. And like
Right.
I want to play with her. I'd much rather do that than work. So it's like, okay, we'll run around the house, we'll do one lap together. Okay, good. And then she's clear to play with herself for a while. And I got that out of my system. It's good to get up and move as a grown up too sometimes. And then I can go back to making eggs or whatever thrilling activity I had just distracting me earlier too.
Fair.
But which is another approach to I think the same thing of setting a boundary.
Yes.
Like I can't set down my entire life to do just the things you want to do. Which I think that's the boundary. Like the boundary is realizing the world doesn't revolve around your desires,
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
Up until probably very recently for most kids who are experiencing this need for boundaries, that has been the case. Especially
Right.
again, especially if they're an only. Like everything about your life has been centered around you
You.
because that's what it is to have a 1 year old and a 2 year old,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Another thing, this is not from today's session, but a
Yeah,
session, many sessions with Missy is that she always will say, like, try to find any way possible to say yes to something.
sure. Yeah.
You can set a boundary with it, but
Mhm.
try to say yes.
Okay.
Like, I want gummy bears. Yes, dinner first, then gummy
Hmm.
bears. I want to take a bath. Okay, brush your teeth first, then we
Yeah.
take a bath. Or something that I've been taking from some parents that I've seen, like, oh, I just did it this morning. Linnea said, I want to put this dress on,
Mhm.
like for bed or whatever. And I was just like, so what we call this is an awake time dress,
Okay.
daytime.
Yep. Yep.
I was like, oh, so this is an awake time dress. Where should we put it so we can remember to put it on first thing when we wake up in the
Ooh,
morning?
nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Um,
You do get those
another
moments sometimes as a parent where you're like, I fucking nailed that.
dude, it happened to me at the library. I was there with Linnea's best friend, and her best friend did not want to leave, and she, was like laying on the ground, being like, "No," and I was just like, "Hey, do you want to do some silly stomps?" And like, do you
Nice.
want to? And I was just like,
Textbook, dude. Yeah.
textbook. And I was just like, ooh, how fast can you stomp? I'm gonna stomp towards the door. Like, no, I'm
Yes.
gonna stop. That kind of thing or
Yep.
whatever. But which is super funny because that exact same situation happened to the same friend. But we were leaving a playground and the girls did not want to come with us and we're like, let's do silly stumps. And the girls were
Yeah.
like, let's go fuck yourself. Um,
These are vulgar children.
yeah, there. And then these other moms, more senior moms, obviously looked at us and they're like, good try, ladies.
Yeah. Been there.
Yes.
Wouldn't want to
And
be
then,
ya. Yeah.
and then guess what? We ended up picking them up.
Yeah. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think in the end, choose your battles, but
Yeah.
try to be cool about it at first. Don't be a
You know,
drill sergeant about it.
yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. Like I've been very, and it's not like we were raised this way, but like I've been very intentional. Like I've probably mentioned again 100 times on this podcast. I gotta check myself a lot with the kid because I get
yeah.
frustrated. It's just like an ADHD thing. I get frustrated easily. And surprise, children are frustrating. To not just like flip my shit. Like
Hmm.
and I don't always succeed and not I don't always succeed in checking myself emotionally, but 99% of the time I think I do a good job.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like I said, like we weren't raised getting screamed at or anything like that, but
No.
don't be a drill sergeant about that. If the cooler you can be about it, the more they're going to want to follow along.
Right.
And
But holy shit,
especially
it is so hard when you just want to scream and shake them and you have to be like, do I do some silly stomps?
dude, yeah, on Monday when you were when you first mentioned that you wanted to do boundaries, I was thinking about it, and it's like I've never laid a hand on Olivia in like a violent way. I never would. It's
Right.
100% out. That's not even considered an option. I'm not saying I would ever condone capital punishment to a child, but I can see the appeal.
Same.
There's parents, if you have a baby, if you have a child and you're listening to this, you are not alone. If
Yes.
you have wanted,
Nobody wants to say it out loud.
if I'll say it out loud, there have been many times I've wanted to punt my child into the sun like a football into outer space. But I
But
don't because I love her. But
instead,
instead, we set a boundary, we redirect, and I take a shit ton of deep breaths.
yeah, dude. Which I've mentioned before in the podcast that, like, Linnea will now call me
Yes,
out when I take deep breaths.
she's triggered by your
You
like crisis breathing.
aggravated.
Don't, don't fucking don't patronize me. You're my child.
Yes. Ooh, say where? You aggravated?
I'm gonna kick you into the sun. uh,
Okay.
uh, parenting. Well, what do you think are our best next moves here, Rachel? For
I
Antonio
think
Banderas.
honestly, I think number one is to just maybe be more transparent with your peers, not necessarily because there's so many like
Hmm.
memes and stuff like reels about how hard parenting is. But Missy was saying, I think the one of the reasons why you think you're having such a significantly harder time than everyone is because you're so incredibly transparent about it. Um,
Yeah. That's something
and
I have attempted to be through this for the last 6 years, is as
mhm,
transparent as possible with everyone about how fucking difficult this is.
right, right,
And that's with a kid
um,
who is pretty easy, to be honest. It's
right.
still really hard.
Yes. Yeah, and that yeah, I don't know. I don't know if my kid is easy or not. Like I have nothing to
Yeah,
compare it to, you know?
yeah,
Ugh.
and it's like not to me. It's easy because again,
Right.
I never had practice
Right. Right.
other than in 11th grade where I had to carry on a fucking sack of flour
That was in
like
middle school.
a week. Was it?
Yes.
Whatever. Doesn't
I
matter.
dude. So okay, before we close the show, funny
Okay.
story time. It was in seventh grade that we had to have our flower babies and we had to dress it up. Or yes, we did have to dress it up. And I was in like seventh or eighth grade and I went to go babysit somebody, like a kid down the street,
Mhm.
and I didn't have to bring my flower baby because that's fucking weird. Um, but I did. And I remember the mom was just like, okay, Aubrey, this is Rachel, and oh, she brought a baby. And now looking back, I'm like, if a
Yeah.
fucking I was the first time I watched that kid. If some new ass
Uh,
babysitter brought a sack of flour dressed in a Mickey Mouse baby outfit, we're canceling dinner plans, honey.
no, come
We're
on. Look, you gotta understand. Everyone's done that project. We all know
you don't
why
need to
we
bring it
do
to the
it.
babysitting gig.
That's a kid who's committed to care.
I guess.
That's someone who's invested in their child. That's what I see with that. But that when when that when that fucking baking ingredient shows up on my doorstep.
And then I remember all the middle school boys dropped it off like the second story stairs at the end
Jesus Christ.
and watched them explode.
Oh, middle schoolers should be illegal.
God.
Criminalize seventh graders.
So anyway, best next move, be
Yeah, yeah.
transparent. And what I really mean by
Okay.
be transparent is text me when you listen to this episode and you have kids and say, I agree, you're not alone.
Honest, guys, get in the Discord, dude. So many parents in there, and I feel like we all feel the same thing, you guys. There's so many songs about falling in love, and there's so many songs about missing someone, and there's so many stories about being a parent. Like, this is one of those, like, human experiences that
Mm-hmm.
is universal, even though it's not talked about. There's so many songs about heartbreak, I think, because it feels like okay to talk about, but not no one, very few very popular forever songs exist about why the fuck is being a parent so hard. No one said it was going to be easy, but no one said it was going to be this fucking difficult, dude.
Right.
And I have ADHD, and that's not helping anything, and she
And
definitely does too.
if someone has musical abilities, let's collab. Let's make a song
That's
called
Antonio Banderas.
I Wish I Could Punch You into the Sun, but I won't because I love
Well,
you.
parentheses, I want to punt you into the sun, parentheses, but I won't because I love you.
It.
Yeah, well, this has been the RF Fitness Podcast. Yes, I am available for online coaching. Thanks for asking. To find out if it's right for you, head to rffitness.net. That's rffitness.net, and then scroll all the way to the bottom of that page to see what kind of coaching I offer. You should also do the client application and hit join the party to jump into our community Discord server for free. Our theme music is Funk AF by Everett Almond, distributed by YouTube Studios. Thank you for listening, guys, and as always, keep
Keep
questing.
questing.